So you might remember from one of the first slides when we're talking about splines that I told you about how spline modeling is something like a tool where you can create your own kind of advanced base objects. And I like to emphasize this a little bit in this short video so that you can understand the power basically of the different spline generator tools. So let's have a look again at this kind of basic nut example where we used a spline to kind of draw this shape and then use the extrude generator to make a 3D object out of the 2D splines here. So one of the nice things now, just to emphasize this again, it's at this point still super parametric, and you can change basically the size of any object or any behavior in with the splines in here. The other thing is the spline generators still work with your deformers. So let's say I want to tamper the upper part a little bit, so I put that into a group here and use the tamper deformer and increase the strength a little bit, and as you can see, it's not working. Why is it not working? Yeah, okay, it wasn't in the null object. Okay, so it has to be in the group, and then as you can see with the taper, I can basically taper this down on the top to reach this kind of shape. So this is a nice thing. And now what you can do with this is you can take it even further and make this shape into a polygon object. And you can use a function for this, which is called, for example, current state to object or connect objects and delete. In this case, let's use this kind of freeze here, the current state to object. And you can see we immediately get a copy of our null object up here, which is called extrude. And let me hide this. And now we have a polygon object of this thing we set up here. And now I can take this further. For example, I can select the bottom part here and extrude this down, for example, or I can go in here and select different edges and do different bevelings of those kind of edges. So that didn't work. Let me try that again. Nope. Something's off. So beveling, chamfer, and there we go. So I was in solid mode, that's why it didn't work. So yeah, you can by that be very precise in the kind of bevelings you want on your object. So let's say I want this kind of large beveling on top, but on the other parts I want very hard kind of edges. So just select the edges, use the beveling tool to draw them out. And by this you can get a kind of this very customized shape by going from the spline to the extrude generator, using a taper to taper it down, and then going to polygon modeling mode to model it even further. Let me increase this a little bit here. So the fong shading is not very optimal, but I think you can get the idea of how the different generators are really useful tool to take it from a more parametric object to then a polygon object, and yeah, get even more of it. And if we go back to the bottle, for example, again the same thing. So this is now the parametric object, but we can just use the make editable button, make this into a polygon object, and then, for example, introduce a few cuts, maybe one on the top, one on the bottom here, and then let's say if we want to make something like a label or an extrusion from this bottle at this part, we can just extrude this out and have basically this kind of customized bottle effect for our shape. So yeah, that's just a very quick video to emphasize this point again, that you can go all the way from the parametric or custom drawn splines to the spline generators to polygon objects, and even use deformers in the mix to create your objects. And this kind of wraps it up for the spline tutorials. And in the next video we will cover another technique basically, but just on a very quick glimpse into that to round that topic of polygon modeling up.